So you now are running a networking group
Ah,
and you're helping people understand how to network. And we talked about that. Um, where do you pull your most energy out of your business? Is it somebody who sells something that you help them sell? Is it somebody who loves your product? Or do you get more energy out of that networking group? Like when you're done, do you like, I'm just re-energized to go out there and start doing my business again?
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop.
Alan, let's get ready to rock and roll, man. I am feeling like extra special glow today.
You have a twinkle.
I do, and you know why? I feel like I have good product around me. I feel like
Your
I'm
skin looks
healthy.
great.
Thank you. I take a lot of pride in how I take care of myself.
Do you use products?
Can we have bourbon, please?
Yes. Cheers.
So much for that, and this is going to kill our guests. So we can't talk about that one. But no, I feel very healthy. I try to take care of my body. I believe in that stuff, and no, I drink beer and bourbon, but I do work out.
Do you
So
really think that's unhealthy, or is it just the volume that you drink that's the reason why you have
you know when
gout,
somebody
morbidly obese, or wait a minute,
I'm not
solidly overweight?
I'm not I'm striving for solidly overweight.
That's right.
Right now I'm obese, as I've been told in my
Oh,
checkup.
not morbidly.
Not morbidly, thank
Okay,
you.
good.
No, not there yet. No, but
How often do you work out?
I work out 5 to 6 times a week. I know. You wouldn't know it because
Out train a bad diet, Chris.
you
That's what they
can't
always
you
say.
can't outrun the fork. I've heard that one too. And another one, I'll give you another phrase is anybody who ever said everything in moderation is full of shit. So that's why I go full on. I play hard till the coach pulls me. And usually that's called passing out. I mean, falling asleep quickly. All right, let's get back to this, shall we? All right, so today's guest is going to talk to us about, again, a jump from the zoo to the wild. Brought to you by From the Zoo to the Wild by Chris Falomino, your guide to entrepreneurship, freedom, and wealth, everybody.
We have not talked about your book in a long time. How
I
are
know.
sales, Chris?
Sales are up, Alan, by the way. It's pretty cool. I've been on a little podcast tour and I've been out there talking about the book, and the sales are up. And so we're probably going to end up doing a little relaunch, everybody, a little tease.
Ooh, are you
And
gonna add to it? You're gonna
I'm gonna
update it?
I'm gonna probably gonna go ahead and do the audiobook this year. So it's going to be available on
You gonna do your
Audible.
own reading?
I am.
Oh, that's gonna be great.
And I'm think how should I read it? Should I read it like you're reading
No, I think
theater?
you should be you with all the F words in
So I should add a few extra words in there?
I think so.
I think I'm
I
going
think
to.
you should just use it as a loose guide.
I should that's what they said. You have to learn to read your entire book and read them all. And if you're ready to sit in a room for 8 hours for 4 days in a row, you'll get through 3 chapters. I'm like, nope, not doing that. I'll do it my way though.
Yeah.
Yeah, my way is going to be like, hey, so on that one, I know I wrote this, but here, let me tell you what I really thought about that. And I'm actually starting to think about a second book. Teaser. That's what we call it, radio tease, because I'm doing that too.
Because you're a big deal.
I am, yeah, doing the radio. All right, can we go back to our guest?
We've not gotten to her yet.
Oh, we got Luann Russian from Arbonne International. International. The Trusted Toolbox is not international yet. We're only in
Podcast is though.
or we're intergalactic.
We are.
Yes. So we met Luann. Well, I met Luann. Well, let me tell you the real story. Here's the origin story.
she didn't chase you down.
She did. Here I am. I start my business and I'm 3 months into it, and I get like 3 calls a day, maybe if I'm lucky. Today we take 280 calls a week. I only took 3 calls. And one of her calls was from Luann. And I am all on it, man. I'm just like, I mean, when when the world is all black and you get one ray of sunshine, you're like, oh, I got a customer. I got a customer. And she says, well, I could be a customer, but I want to talk to you about this networking thing. And she starts explaining it to me. And I had it on my business plan to get into networking. And anybody who's listening to this podcast know I really believe in networking. But Luann invited me. And so it's all it took was somebody to invite me. And I said, all right, let's do it. And that was my first foray into it. And so it was not BNI, who I ultimately moved to and endorsed completely. I have my guys, I have 3 of them in it now. It was a local competitor called Power Core, but that group was so fun to join and be a part of. So Luann actually invited me. I got more calls from that than just her one call. So Luann, thank you for coming and thank you for reaching out.
You're welcome. And Chris said, well, I plan to do that later. Well, why? Yeah, I don't know. I'll see you Thursday.
You checkmated him.
She did. Right off the bat, she went, why? I didn't know what I was doing.
Business now.
You do. You know what? That's all she said. But don't you need business now? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll be there Thursday. So, Luann, you've had a successful run in the business world. Let's talk a little bit about your background first before we talk about the leap that you made.
Okay. And listening to you guys, took everything not to interject with all of your comments about the drinking and how healthy that is. And I can teach you how to drink bourbon that it's healthier, but yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Oh,
As long as it
does that mean
includes,
we can drink more?
I was gonna say, as long as it includes more, I'm in.
Yeah, I had been with was in Arizona, finished getting an MBA. I had planned on going to law school, took the LSATs, did very, very well. And just at the last minute, something seemed like it wasn't right. So I went and got an MBA instead. And then ended up with a division. Am I allowed to say the company?
You are.
Okay, got it. I was with a division of Pfizer, and it was with a company called Rorig. And a lot of people know the products. I had Zoloft and the Z-Pack and Viagra and quite a few others. So I had been with them, gosh, I don't know, about 5 or 6 years, and ended up being the rep of the year running for a few years. So it was, I liked it. It was a good company. I loved what I did. I wouldn't quite call that the wellness industry, which is what we thought it might be back then, but it certainly is an industry that
It's an industry.
it's an industry that has a role. It's
It's thriving and growing. Can we say that?
Don't go down that road. You really went down that road on our last podcast.
I mean, there's a lot of good companies out there. I was treated very, very well with them. And then I started to have kids. And if you know anything about pharmaceuticals, I had major teaching institutions. I had the University of Virginia. I had the Medical College of Virginia. So I had some traveling with that and was getting home and seeing my kids about 30 minutes a day. And we got to a point where I thought, yeah, it might not be best for me. It's hard to be rep of the year, mom of the year. And I remember my manager literally saying, could you stay with us and be mediocre? Yeah. And I get it. Like if you know,
A mediocre mom and a mediocre.
well,
yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
And if that has been what I had been, maybe that's hard to, you don't want to set your goal there. And so the answer was no.
So but you knew you wanted to keep working, and obviously your husband at the time is still there.
He's
Still
still
the same
there,
guy.
yeah.
I was gonna say,
Working,
how many have
right?
been?
But I mean, at the time when you said, "Hey, baby, I'm done. I'm out. I'm doing it," or did you say, "I'm going to try to find something else so
No,
I can
we were
keep"?
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we took over half our income and cut it right out, which is a tough one. And
Yes.
then we ended up moving from Richmond, Virginia down here to, it was then Alpharetta, Georgia. Now it's Johns Creek, Georgia, where we lived. And he ended up with a different job that made up for most of that. But then after a while, I just decided that I wanted to jump into something. But here's the thing, when you're in corporate America, they kept my job for a year, but then they kept my money. Like the money didn't keep coming in when you left them after a year.
It's funny how that works.
It is kind of funny. So I decided if I ever did anything again, there would be a way to have income coming in should you ever have to step aside for a certain reason. And maybe a business where you could have multiple streams of income in the same business. So I was kind of focused on that. And when I came across a company called Arbonne, I had never heard of it. It was already 25 years when I jumped in. Arbonne is a network marketing company, and people be like, oh, it's a pyramid, which shows a total lack of information on that point. A pyramid is what Bernie Madoff and others are in jail for or was for hundreds of years.
Those are bad.
They are bad. They are bad. There's no products involved. It's usually people putting in money, and it is a pyramid scheme, and it crumbles. This is a business model, and you just have to, I have an MBA, we studied them. I had no qualms about it. As opposed to what you did, you started from the ground up. I jumped in with them, like I'm their sales team. So it seemed like something I could do.
Did you evaluate anything else at that time?
At that, I did evaluate a couple things, and they came and asked me to work for them again on a part-time basis. And then when they told me how much they were going to pay, they laughed before I did.
Oh,
And
Wow.
he said, wow. And she's like, I know, we were all worried to even call you and ask. But they were just getting into, it was a split business. It was a split position. So it was going to be me and one other person. And I said, how are they covering that? You want me to drive into downtown Atlanta and pay for childcare? I can't do it. I just couldn't do it, nor did I really want to. I wanted to do something different.
So did you have that itch to be an entrepreneur, to go out on your own? Was that always something that was in the back of your mind?
It
No.
really wasn't. So it's not, a friend called me about Arbonne and I did what other people do. I ignored the phone call and then she called back and I kind of ignored it again. And I said, I'm not interested. I've never even heard about them. And she said, well, I know you're looking for something that you can do from home and make money. And are you so closed-minded you won't look at this? Well, how do you answer that?
Yeah, that's tough.
Kind of how she got you to go to that first
Yeah.
conference.
She was, well, hey, all right. So what I didn't know is I was up against the 5-time pharmaceutical
you
rep
had
of the
no
year.
chance.
I had no chance, man. She was sharking, cutting me the, yes, she was cutting my Achilles, cutting my knees, and I was sitting there going, hey, you're so nice. Please. Yep.
Get in the car. You don't have your truck shaft. Oh, goodness. So no, I kind of fell in my, I mean, I had heard of network marketing, but it's like, I really don't know what that is. And I looked at the business model.
I mean,
like,
Amway comes to mind.
yeah. And Amway causes us some problems because if you have a concern about network marketing, it's a company you think about, and it's not the business model. It's the principles and practices of a company that you have trouble with. I mean, truly. And they were the ones. I mean, they've been around for years.
Were they naughty?
They would invite you to things and not kind of tell you were coming to a business event. And it's just like, who does that?
Guilty. Got hit by one of those when I was in grad school. And my girlfriend at the time, who I might still know, and maybe became my wife,
Oh,
she said,
I was like, where are we going with this on air?
her friend from IBM said, come on over for a party. And we got there and we were a little early, or we were fashionably late, but not as late as the AM attackers. And the Amigators blocked us in the driveway and wouldn't let us leave. I'm like,
Are you serious?
yeah, I'm
how
like,
does that work?
I mean, I know that, in fact, that whole thing turned me way off because Amway's from Michigan originally.
Yeah.
We had Amway products in my house. I know.
The biggest tower in Grand Rapids is the Amway Grand Plaza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this happened and you're like, I can't. And so at the time, it actually was a huge riff. I'm like, hey man, if that's the kind of people you hang out with, I'm good, And we didn't date for a little bit because of that.
So
And I
you
never
haven't
want to talk
blocked
to that
Chris
guy.
in his driveway?
No, I did not get blocked.
Sorry.
No,
You don't know?
she just nipped my Achilles and dragged me down to the networking event to only allow me to go make more money.
Yeah.
So you did you look at I mean, network marketing for you was a bad term.
It was not.
It was
I
not.
didn't know. It was not.
Because it was not on your radar at all then.
Because nothing had ever happened to me. I mean, I studied it as a business model. It makes sense. Like someone develops the products, they do all the research, they do that, and then you plug in and you develop kind of like, it is my own little mini business and you can grow it to as big or as small as you want. I market the products. I can coach and train others to do what I do, and I get a small override on that, but those small overrides add up as you grow. But I like that. I have hundreds of customers, and I've had some of the same customers 20 years because I've been with them 20 years now. So if I have to take a break like I have over the 20 years, my customers don't know that. So they're continuing to order and that business is still coming in and my paycheck is still coming in. So I love that.
What kind of products do they have? I know you brought us a couple of chew toys for men or something like that.
Exactly, chew toys for men. That's actually a great product. I think you got one right there.
Give you a healthy snack.
Okay, thank you. That'll go along really well with the bourbon.
With your bourbon.
All right, so
the bourbon?
It can, yeah, it's a beef jerky. It's not an Arbonne product. I had to know my audience.
Oh,
I found
okay.
a couple things for you guys.
It's like, wow, I think of Arbonne differently if they've got chew toys.
all right, so back to Arbonne.
Yeah.
Did you have to believe in the product before or did you have to believe more in the business model than you did the product?
I jumped in for the business model. And when people were looking at any business, I did with network marketing what anybody should do to any business is like, look at the compensation plan. Like, how do you get paid? What's it based on? Look at the industries they're in. Like this one is wellness and skincare. So are those big industries? And if they're not, maybe you should pick another company. Well, wellness just happens to be a 6.3 trillion with a T $1 trillion industry.
Wow.
And
And we're clearly not participating in that.
But you guys
But
were
you're-
talking about your skincare, how glowing
I do
skin.
have product. I
Yes.
do use product for my skin.
And that is currently, what is
Really?
that? $171 billion industry. So Chris, that's why I picked it. It's like, those are a couple major industries. And then the company's pay plan, I knew how to read a pay plan. It's really good. Others weren't as good. And I've had people comment like, oh gosh, you get paid for sponsoring people. That makes no sense. Like if you see a company, and that's why I tell people looking at network marketing, evaluate Arbonne, or if you want me to help you evaluate other companies, I will. But if they pay you for sponsoring, I would be backing away. Because you sponsor 10 people and they sell nothing. What's that doing for you?
Yeah.
So you want to be looking at a company that pays you when you literally move the products they're promoting. That's what you're looking for.
So you looked at the pay plan,
Yeah.
and what else did you look
I
at?
looked at the industries. I looked at it was in wellness and skincare. And I
Okay.
am a baby boomer. I know you can't tell, but I am. So skincare is huge. And then I love wellness. So they were the original clean company. You know, now it's kind of the cool thing to ban toxins and chemicals and red dye #3. Well, that wasn't as cool 45 years ago. But they're the original clean company. And they kind of grew into that. And now they're very popular because that's what people are looking for. And then I don't stock inventory. I don't do any of that. Like they ships from the company. There's a lot of good things about this industry. They do a lot of my work for me.
Did you evaluate the flexibility, the ability to be there with your kids when you wanted to be with the
Absolutely.
kids? And that was a big
Yeah,
part of it as
that's
well.
huge.
Yeah.
That was huge.
How did you investigate? And I think this is really interesting because, our listeners are from all kinds of backgrounds, but they're all entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And so how do you evaluate an opportunity? So how did you find out that these are products I can stand behind?
Do you have what it takes to start your own business? Are you tired of the 9-to-5 corporate job and ready to make that leap into entrepreneurship? Then you need to check out From the Zoo to the Wild, the new book by successful entrepreneur Chris LaLamia. This book is a unique perspective on the journey into the wild world of home services and delivering excellence in service while working in customers' homes. LaLamia shares his path to success in this industry, including proven customer relationship strategies, award-winning customer experience processes, and a unique approach to training a team of service technicians to perform at the highest levels. Whether you're a small business trying to scale or a franchise operation, From the Zoo to the Wild will give you the mindset, habits, leadership style, and customer-oriented processes to succeed as a small business owner in the home services space. So if you're ready to take control of your future, get your copy of From the Zoo to the Wild today, available on Amazon.
Yeah, looking at the ingredients and having my pharmaceutical background, I knew how to read ingredients. So looking at that. And then I signed up for the business knowing I could make this work and then ordered products. And that's not what most of my people do. Most of my people that decide to eventually join me in the business, they've had a great experience with one of our 30 Days to Healthy Living, or they love our products and then they're looking for a little extra income. I was the complete opposite. I saw what people were earning. I saw what the business was doing. I saw how it was growing. So I jumped in and then I tried the products. Hoping I liked them based on the ingredients I had read.
Dude, I'm totally digging that. Oh, come on now. That's a great way to look at it. She's got a business mind going into it. So how many times, again, in networking, especially, you get out there and you find the pretenders, the ones who don't really need to do this and kind of aren't there. They're kind of playing at business. And when you're out there networking, you're looking for people who are working at their business.
I'm looking for both. Like if you want to join me and have a hobby and still do a little bit, that's fine. Like I have lots of, I don't have lots. People think like you need hundreds of people in this business working with you to be successful. I have 4 or 5 key people. And then I have others that are working it to hit their goals. Like they want to be able to shop at Whole Foods. They want to be able to put their kids in travel baseball. That's their goal. Their goal isn't to get their husband home from work or to pay for their house in downtown somewhere or to, have a cabin mess. That's not their goal. But I'll take them all and help them coach them for whatever they want, truly. Because people's plans change too.
Like that.
Yeah.
All right. So you get in there, you start growing the business, and you start to see it. Was there ever a point where you said, I don't know if this is going to work. I'm probably going to have to call it good.
Well, there's a book that was literally written called The Dip. And maybe you guys have experienced, but you always get a little dip in your business because that's how industries are. You're both looking. So
No, I've had monster dips. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Have some.
I feel like it's kind of doubt a little bit what we're doing. But anytime that happens, it's time to regroup and try something different, which is kind of what we do. Because the way I worked my business when I started 20 years ago, there's a lot of changes since then. I mean, think of social media, and that is part of why this industry is exploding now. You can do so much on social media and be successful at it. I wouldn't say I'm that successful via that method yet. I'm more one-on-one and out and about meeting people and getting referrals, but there's multiple ways to make this business succeed. And I tell people, like, what will you really do? Like, let's work your business in the facet that, like, what will you really do? Let's not say you're going to go meet people if you're an introvert and don't want to ever talk, but if you'll work on social media, let's make it work.
So it's always been good for you working through it. Never said, because I've said this. People listen to the podcast no less than 3 different times. I probably should have shut the business down because it was going the wrong way and everything sucked and it was just brutal. But
other than that, it was great.
Other than that, I mean, 16 years later, look at me. I'm overnight success and almost still married.
Business is so different from you.
Thank you.
Like, you don't have overhead. We're a plant-based company, so we don't stock inventory because it has an expiration date on it.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of the stuff that you had to be kind of like put you back a little bit. Now, I have had times where I've worked my business less, and that's one of the things I like with network marketing versus corporate America. You remember, because I've already told you, I was the rep of the year a couple years running. So then you go for salary review and you go for like your bonus. And I remember literally saying, gosh, that's what the rep of the year gets? Like, thought it'd be more. And the answer was, you haven't been with us as long as the other guys. Now, first of all, I was the first female with one of the first females with Pfizer to work the business. I was probably one of the first ever rep of the year. I was the first one to have a baby, and then I was the second person to have a baby. But yeah.
So you're first and second.
Yeah, I was first and
Oh,
second.
that's good. No, there you go.
There you go. But their point was, you haven't been with us long enough to get the bigger bonuses. I didn't like that. If you have an entrepreneurial bone in your body, you don't like that.
Right.
If you work harder, and that's when my business has its dips, it's because I'm not working as hard. For whatever reason. It's kind of like, oh, it's going back. Well, I guess it's me. There's no one to blame, which I like.
So let's talk about how you work your business compared to other people. So, we always think about, we have to do business development, got to get the leads, we got to convert the leads, and we got to fulfill. Well, you've already got the fulfillment. That part's figured out. Where do you focus your business development? Where do you think people should be focusing their business development?
For me, I focus, I don't know if it's business development, but business maintenance. I have a lot of clients. So my goal is to keep them and to follow up and take good care of them. Out and about, like, I've run a business women's networking group. I ran one in Johns Creek for 11 years. And then when I moved to Alpharetta, I started a business women's networking group down there. And part of the reason was, and actually I didn't want to do it. I was feeling like I was being led to do it, but I didn't want to do it because it's a little bit of work.
A little bit.
It was a little bit of work. And I was sitting next to someone at a lunch I was at and she said, what are you doing in the new year? I said, oh, I feel like I'm being led to start a networking group again, but I don't have a place to hold it in downtown Alpharetta. So I think I'm going to have to roll it out. To which she says, my husband and I own a business about a block from here. We'll let you use the conference room for free if you want to. So yeah, there's your answer.
No choice.
There's your answer. So, because a lot of people don't know how to network. So I felt like it's my goal to teach them. And then, we have a group of 25 to 35, and it's a good group, and they help me build my business like we did with you, Chris.
Right.
So I build my business that way. I will bring people in and teach them little wellness events because lots of people want to be better. Like, they want to know how to drink their bourbon and not impact their blood sugar as much. So I'll do like Zoom calls about that. That is a thing.
Second tease she's giving us, but she's not giving us the answer.
I'm going for more bourbon. What? No kidding. All right.
But so I do some Zoom events. I do some live events. I've gotten good at asking for referrals, which I think a lot of us should do. And very few people take advantage of that.
So that's a great
So
one.
talk about how you ask for referrals, because I think it's an art that most people don't know. And usually people are like, well, if you know anybody, keep me in mind.
You can't do that.
No. How do you
do
teach
that.
people how to ask for referrals?
I either talk to someone who's just ordered, or someone that's at one of my events, or someone that I have just followed up with, and we're communicating and saying, hey, listen, I know you love the product and I know you've had some good results. Can you think of anybody that would like to hear about it or be as happy as you are? And I always send them, something for doing that. And most of them aren't expecting anything. but they do think, and they might not think right then, but you planted a seed. So now they're watching for you. Like, here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it. And I describe them. You know, I'm looking for someone that's into wellness like you are, that's trying to make small strides, who, you know, is looking for skincare, who is like, who do you know that might like it? Can you connect us to us in a three-way text right now? And some of them I'll say, like, can you pull 3 or 4 together and I'll come and talk to you? Because I feel like I'm better live. Like, better live. Like, people will be like, oh, what's she going to talk about? She's going to twist my arm. There's no arm twisting. Like, there isn't. But you can just sit down, and there shouldn't be.
She just cut your Achilles, drags you to networking. No, I'm kidding. No, she actually hit on one thing that I think is really key in networking. You got to be very specific and have that ask.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. And I think that's where it's hard, because it's really easy, especially in the sales process. We call that WIMP junction, is that you're almost at a
What?
WIMP junction.
Oh, okay.
So I'm almost there. I can almost get to close. And then you go, okay, is there anything else? All right, well, I'll send you the estimate and I'll follow up with you.
Well, and they're expecting you to ask.
can I-
So they're a little surprised,
They're
like,
like,
didn't he want my business?
Well, and
Nobody
I
else.
think just in defense of everybody that does it wrong, they think if they're too specific, they might be eliminating some opportunity. So if you say, if you can think of anybody that needs me, then that opens it up to everybody. But if you have a very, as Chris uses the word avatar, you have a very specific avatar, and you say, I'm looking for this, then all of a sudden they can think of everybody they know and think of people that look like that.
And this changes depending on, like, the season, what Arbonne's doing, what's going on. The this can change.
Mm.
Someone asked me, you know, what would be one of your best business points or advice that you would give? And it is follow up, like, follow up.
Mhm.
We hear that you have to have like 7 to 12 follows up for people to change their toothpaste, but you continue to follow up with people until they tell you to stop. And then, you know, when they tell you to stop, you know, you can say, like, for now or forever. And that's different with every industry. For my industry, that's pretty appropriate
That's
to
actually
say.
interesting. So what do you think is the right cadence for follow-up?
If it's someone's a client of mine already, I do follow up, like, immediately thanking them, and then in 5 days, and then in 2 weeks, and then in a month. If it's someone that I'm looking to, like, they've shown an interest and I'm following up, it's immediate. And then it's usually the week later. And then it's a question like, you know, what can I help you with? I know you were interested. Can we get that going? And then it's usually monthly.
Okay.
so not daily.
No,
We've been talking about this.
It depends
we have been talking
on
about
someone, but it depends. Like,
Well,
So
we've been talking about the automation that you have
Oh,
with
gosh.
technology,
Yeah.
and I bought a battery powered pool for my son and daughter-in-law, and on their website, great deal. I get a text every day,
Yeah.
and I'm like, literally every day, and I'm like, well, they're pretty good deals, so I don't necessarily want to unsubscribe, because there could be a day where I need
Yeah.
a pole saw or something, but I'm like, my God, they're driving me crazy. It almost makes me want one.
But the flip side is, if you're not staying present and in front of them, then
But every
you
day
lose
is
the
too
sale.
much. I'm just going out on record saying every day is too much. You're driving me freaking crazy. But I like what you're doing.
You know what I'm taking away from this is, from now on, when you come and I give you an estimate, I'm going to follow up with you hourly. Alan, you decided yet? How about yet?
How
How
about
about
now? You
at
good?
2 o'clock in the morning?
I
Are
haven't heard
you
from you in a while.
awake? Hey, Alan, are you awake? I am. I am waiting.
Well, and I think some of them get that, because when you go to subscribe, they will say, like, how about weekly? Or how about, like,
Yeah.
they still want to keep you, but yeah, the daily, I don't have enough to say to follow up people
No.
daily. Like, why?
But let's go back just a little bit on the networking part. So you now are running a networking group,
Ah.
and you're helping people understand how to network, and we talked about that. Where do you pull your most energy out of your business? Is it somebody who sells something that you help them sell? Is it somebody who loves your product? Or do you get more energy out of that networking group? Like, when you're done, do you, like, I'm just re-energized to go out there and start doing my biz again?
You know, the thing, probably what energizes me most about my business is I tell people I teach healthy living. I can help you look good and feel good, you know, products, education. And truly, like, I jumped into Arbonne for money, and about 11 years, maybe 11 years into it, they came out with a healthy living program. And Chris, you probably remember hearing about the 30 days to healthy living.
That's it.
No one whined about it more than I did. And I mean, no one, because you pull things out that I loved. You had to eat more
Pasta.
nutritious food. What's that?
Pasta, chocolate.
Pasta, yeah. Cookies,
Huh.
bourbon.
Really?
For 30 days. I know. I hear you. Yep. 30 days. So
Chris will be right back.
maybe
He's got to go
7 days
pass
for
out
you.
and be back.
So
How,
bottom
how
line
about 30
is,
minutes? Can I do 30 minutes to healthy living?
that one's gonna fill back up. But anyway, I did end up doing the program because I had lots of clients. I have a big business. So it's kind of like, I need to know what it's all about. And if the leader's not going to do it, no one is. So I did it. And no joke, within 5 or 6 days, I felt pretty good. I have 2 autoimmune disorders, or I did. And I really think this is the reason I ended up with Arbonne, was to resolve my health issues. I had no clue that I was causing some of them. And after 30 days, I ended up losing a bit of weight and feeling so good. Well, it's a 30-day program. So you know what I did on day 31? Went back to all
Lucky
my-
Charms.
Yeah, right back. Make not quite, but Captain Crunch or
Oh.
whatever I was doing, cookies.
Even better.
that.
I don't
bowl.
like Lucky Charms anyway.
So
They're magically delicious.
they're magically
Captain Crunch. Captain Crunch, what else can rip the roof of your mouth out better than Captain Crunch?
And you're happy that it happened, yeah.
All right.
I do believe RFK is going to take care of all of that.
I-
stuff out now.
All right. So 30 days, 31, you go off it. And what happened?
And then didn't feel good almost immediately. 'Cause
Mm.
I had something called fibromyalgia, which is chronic pain, chronic fatigue disorder, and I had Crohn's, that's a real thing. People die from that.
That's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
That's
Bad.
a real thing.
And I had bumped into a holistic nutritionist just over and over again. And I'd said to her, like, there's a reason we're supposed to know each other. Why don't we figure it out? So I explained to her what I was doing. And she said, you're doing the right thing. You need to do it longer. You know, I was learning wellness with her. And over 4.5 months, I ended up losing almost 50 pounds. And then those issues that I had, Crohn's and fibromyalgia, I don't have those anymore. Like, I
I'm
don't
gonna give
have
it a high
them.
five on that.
I
Are you
know.
kidding me right now?
No, and I haven't for 10 years.
That's
I'm
amazing.
not making any medical claims, but when you feed your body, like some of the things we're doing are causing our own issues and inflammation.
Garbage in,
Inflammation
garbage
is-
out.
Yeah, inflammation is a precursor for every disease state. And then thankfully, by getting rid of something, it is.
I'm on the card for all of them. If there was a bingo card, I'm lighting them all up, my friends. Bingo, bingo. B72, bingo.
I can help even you, Chris. So when you ask, like,
I don't know, but that's a challenge I would love to see.
when you ask what I love about it,
She dragged me to networking when
I'm in a networking group.
don't do that.
unwillingly.
Now I'm going to go
That's
really healthy.
Feel
I
good,
can
milk
eat a
out.
vegetable. Mhm. Yeah.
She could actually get me to eat a vegetable. I didn't even know that. That's not one of the 4 food groups, is it?
Not yours.
Yeah. So that's what I get excited about, like helping people, like they don't get it. And all of a sudden they feel better and they're like, I didn't get, like, you have control over how you feel. It's just so interesting with nutrition and the whole thing.
So you've obviously been very successful doing this. You were very successful before. What is the difference between you and becoming successful and a lot of other people that jump into the same company and they aren't?
I don't go away. Like you don't quit. You don't quit. You have a bad year, you have a downside, you don't quit. And it's just based on what your goals are. Like my goal is to not have a real job and go back to corporate
So you
America.
have goals that you pay attention to.
Oh,
number one.
absolutely. Yeah. And I'm reading a book called the 12-week year. I don't know if you guys have seen that. And it really is a pretty good one.
That means you only work 12 weeks a year?
Well, the point is,
Chris is interested.
Color me interested. You know what? I might go healthy to work 12 weeks a year.
that's not quite what it is.
Shit.
But their point is, why don't we break our years and set our goals in 12 weeks? Because you set your yearly goal, and there's sometimes you get to June and like, there's no way. Like, there's no way. So you're done. So what do you do in the next 6 months? Like, so if you do it in 12 weeks, pick 3 things, like 3 things you really want to work on and really do it. And if you get partway in and you're not hitting it, you can refocus or redo something. But if you get to the end of 12 weeks, like, oh, I didn't hit it, that's okay. You have another 12 week and another 12 week. It's kind of an interesting idea. Isn't that like,
I do like that idea. That's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't know if I can do 12 weeks. I'll do 30 minutes though.
Yeah, I was gonna say your attention span doesn't go that long.
What? What were you talking about? Let's go back to Luann. Can we, please?
uh,
So at the end of
Like I'm the one distracting.
what? All right, please, Alan. Can we let the adults please talk for a minute? All right, so back to Luann.
Inside voices.
So as you do this, do you have an exit strategy? So you've started a business, you're an entrepreneur. Do you have an exit strategy, or are you like, I'm going to ride this thing out and see what happens?
I have thought about that. And I have a friend that is trying to figure out what her exit strategy is with it. She has hundreds of clients that are still ordering. So I feel like when I'm ready to not build as much, I still will take care of and support my clients that I already have that I'm getting, you're getting residual income for them. Once, and some of the clients I've had for 20 years, it's not that hard to support them anymore. Like, what else are you doing? You can take half hour, 30 minutes, an hour a day to take care of the people you already have if you don't want to build anymore.
So you feel like when I'm ready to say, I think I'm almost ready to retire,
Mhm.
quote unquote, and I'm putting the air quotes out there for everybody online, air quotes, is that you just kind of let it kind of play itself out.
Maybe stop mentoring people for the business.
Yeah.
You know, might let it do that.
Is that a business you could sell? Could you bring on somebody else, a protege, and
No, if you really can't sell it, you can will it. My kids are in my will. Should
Mhm.
something happen to me, they get it. Which is a nice perk.
are they involved in the business now?
No, they are not.
No.
Mhm.
All right, let's talk about Arbonne for a little bit because we're at the last 5-10 minutes of the show. So what is Arbonne? What are the products, and can men actually get some?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Chew toys,
Yeah.
Chris wants to know if we can grow our hair back.
among other things.
we do have a product that stimulates hair growth, so it might help a little bit.
I think we're a little behind that one.
Mm.
I've actually said this. I'm no jokes, all things aside, because we are bald. We've made no jokes about that. But if I was starting to go bald now with all the advances there, I can't tell you that I wouldn't have been vain enough to go, I might do it. But I saw how bad plugs were back in the day. I'm like, I'll never
Aren't they
do that.
just the worst? It was
The
like a
worst.
rows of
So I'm not gonna lie, that I'm not that vain, but I see that. But now I don't think there's any amount of anything I can put in my body that my hair is gonna start growing back in my head. My family has proven that. So, all right. So what does Arbonne offer?
Yeah, Arbonne has been around 45 years, so which is one of the reasons I picked them. I won't go with a startup. I didn't want to go with a startup because they
Me neither.
track record on that.
or me.
You both did well on it. I didn't think that.
No.
Yeah. But I was not going to choose that, so I picked a well-established company. And like I said, Arbonne is the original clean. They banned 2,000 ingredients that we now know, well, they have known are toxic to people. So, and I knew in my drug rep days, like we sell skincare products. If it touches your skin, it's in every organ in 26 seconds. We're
Really?
foolish not to think there's implications with regard. There are implications with that. So I like the products, but we have everything. We have nutrition, like I brought you guys, we have protein shakes. You know, protein is a huge thing to focus on. Like get 100 grams a minimum a day, you feel better. Doing whatever you do, you just feel better. And that's what it's kind of all about. You work better, you feel better, you enjoy life better if you feel better. So protein, it's hard to eat 100 grams. So I love that they have a meal replacement protein shake. That's one of our #1 sellers. We have an energy drink that's healthy for you, that focuses on B vitamins and guarana and green tea. We have amazing skincare. The men, one of our products just got named #1 for men. So we laugh about that.
Mhm.
But I would suggest there's a lot of men out there working on a second wife that's a tiny bit younger. So they need to work their best. So there is men's skincare. It seems to be exploding for different reasons.
I love it. She said, there's just way too many to do it there. #1 men's product. I'm like, I can't wait to hear how big this one is.
Oh, God, there we go
Hello.
again.
Thank you. Ta-dum.
But
Boom.
we have sports products. We have just
Like hydration drinks?
we have a hydration. I brought you guys a post-workout. We have immunity products, and man, there are like, what are they calling it? A quademic this year. It's flu A and flu B, and it's norovirus, and
Right.
it's RSV, and it's COVID is still sticking around. You need to build your immunity. And we have a mushroom powder, we have an immunity drink, we have a super boost. I take them all because I choose to stay healthy. So it's products that you would use every day: shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste. Like Arbonne wants to have the product you reach for, but have the safer version. And they want it showing up at your doorstep at a discount.
Is it bad for business if you get sick?
If I get sick, no, but I'll probably recover faster than
Okay.
some.
Take that, Ellen. All right. Luann, I know you read this, but we've got to ask you our famous 4 questions. You've
Okay.
already referenced a book.
This
Is
is a different book that
Good.
I picked. Yeah.
I want to hear your favorite book.
Yeah. The favorite, like the modern day version would probably be Atomic Habits from James Clear. You guys, I'm sure know that one. It's one of the #1s. The one that I read years ago was The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. There's like 3 different ones, and I keep going back to the same books, but it's called The Compound Effect. And his point is the tiny little decisions we make every day, they add up.
Mm.
And they're easy to do and they're easy not to do. but you either end up with the life you want or kind of a disaster by default. Which is true, like as we were just talking about, taking care of your clients, following up, those are so easy not to do.
Compound effect. I love that one.
Yeah.
Actually, it was,
Yeah, I
I'm
like
sorry, I
that.
was checking out so I could write that one down. That was so good.
Good.
And that's what I coach with my clients, because my goal with Arbonne is to get everybody off of the drugs I put them on with the pharmaceutical company.
That's
So what
right.
Get you off of those.
I like that.
Yeah.
That should be your
It's like-
tagline.
it's
Let me get
penance.
you off the drugs I put you on 30 years ago. I can help you. All right. I want to know the favorite feature of your current home.
We live in a brand new home, and my favorite feature is so silly. There's something magic in the water tank that makes it, I have hot water immediately when I turn it on.
Insta hot.
And I don't know what it is. You know what it is?
Yeah, I do, but that's
But I love that.
so you love that you have hot water right now.
Immediately.
Oh, I
That's the feature.
see.
And then the other one we put in was I have garage floors that put the epoxy on.
Mm.
I love that.
It looks so clean every time you walk in there, right?
I love it. Yeah.
Right. And you're not even a dude out there. You're just hanging in the garage. Everyone loves it. I know. I do on the home show. I just had a garage living guy come in and talks about, I said, well, you're selling this to the guy. And the guy stops me and says, nope, you're selling that to the woman. He said, I sell it to more single women than anybody else.
Wow.
I said, do those single women come with hot cars? Because I know somebody. I mean, as a handyman, again, I could just help. So, all right. Can we,
Sometimes you should whisper in my ear before you say something.
Michael, edit that. Oh God, he won't do that either.
No. it has
Oh,
3 years.
Michael, for years. Not that. All right. So we founded this podcast and we're trying to help everybody grow. But one of the things we all know about growing is entrepreneurs. And Luann has told that we need to be customer service
freaks.
And so we want to know, what's a customer service pet peeve of yours?
Mine is when you push 94 buttons and then you get a robot. That's it. Like, can I not get a real person?
So I just had somebody I just got done telling my CEO group about AI, and it's coming to the HVAC industry before my industry. And here's what we've heard, and we've heard this on the podcast from Uzi.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back and listened to some more later. And she said somebody here locally had tried it here in Atlanta, and she said it was the most frustrating experience of my life. I kept going, representative, representative, representative. She said after 20 minutes, I got hung up on.
Oh,
I was like, oh,
Right.
AI did not score that one.
no, it's not that.
Take that, robot. iRobot. We're taking them out. All right.
I win.
And now I want to go back to you and Tony, your husband. We didn't mention him yet, did we? I just did it. So Tony has just been mentioned on the podcast. So
He doesn't know he's part of this.
oh, he will now. Tony, I want to know a DIY nightmare story. And I want not the contractor story. I want something that you and Tony just absolutely tried and it just went so bad.
It's so funny.
Like wallpaper hanging.
Go ahead and drive the bus over Tony.
Right over him. Kill him. Knock him down.
Well, he's only going to agree with this. Like, Tony works very hard so he can say, who can we hire to do that? Like, truly. Like, who can, but you could. Well, yeah, but who can we hire to do that? I would guess back before he had that line that he uses all the time now, it was probably wallpapering a bathroom,
Oh,
a small bathroom. But
You did it
we're
together?
we are still together. What are we on? 42, 43 years? I don't know, coming up. So we're still together, but that was a rough one.
That will ruin a marriage.
Yeah, and he will never do it again. Like, never.
do people still wallpaper, Chris?
Actually, it's
They
coming
do.
back.
Mhm.
Coming back in a
It
big
comes
way.
and goes and comes.
I know.
It's back.
And the coverings that are coming back now, much better made.
And some of
I
them
mean-
are self-stick now.
So,
Nice.
and I'm not even trying because we won't do it at the Trusted Toolbox because I'm just so absolutely killed on how bad it was in the beginning. So they were really paper-based and you put them up and they shrink, they move, they stretch, they break, and you could never put them upright. So now they have a little bit more backing to them. They're actually super simple to put up. Where people really whiff on though is the gaps. I mean, the seams.
Mm.
They just can't do it. So wallpapering is still one of those things that if you want to stay married, don't do it.
Don't do it, no.
Yeah. And I highly recommend just throwing up some Sherwin-Williams paint and calling it good.
I think so. Or maybe you could come up with like strips that you put over the seams and just kind of lean into the gap and make it a contrast or something, a decorative contrast.
Oh, you might be onto something. We could call
I
it
think I
checkerboard.
invented something.
You could be Copered walls.
See,
You're
trademark.
oh
No
Small
females
business
will
safari.
approve of that.
no. So
I think you're wrong.
I think you'll be selling it to all men's assisted living firms where they have bouncing balls going
There's a
all the way
huge
around.
market there.
Oh my God, Luann, this has been great. Here's how we got Luann on the show. We actually, I think she's been on my list for a long time, but Alan and I went to Steve Beacham's party. Steve Beacham, the ultimate networker. The guy knows how to network to everybody.
The
And we're
mother of
there.
all Christmas
He's the
parties.
best.
And we walked in there and we saw Luann, and I got a chance to introduce Alan to Luann. And Alan is sitting there going, "We have to have her on our podcast. Why is she not on our podcast?" I'm like, "She's on my list, bro. I was just working it in. All right. So okay, so
Get
now
off
you
your
have
ass, Chris.
I know. So let's do this. All right, you learned something. Luann, how can everybody find out about you though?
I have a website.
We
Yeah.
it
Am I allowed
is.
to say it?
Yeah.
Please.
It's luannrussian.arbonne.com. And then I am on Instagram, hidden under my real name of Luann Russian. So you can find me there and Facebook.
How do you
And
spell Russian?
Rushin,
Okay.
like you're Russian around.
There's not a lot of them out there on Insta though.
No, I am, according to my niece, the only Luann Russian in the world.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
I know.
Isn't it cool to be unique?
I know, and have two names no one can spell ever.
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 That's awesome.
Usually when I tell people my last name is Russian, they're like, "Oh, but what is it?" No, it's literally Russian. Why would I tell you the ethnicity of my name?
RUSHIN. We're good. All right, guys. Listen, you've heard from Luann. She has told you a lot about how great her business has been for her and the way she worked it. You can get into this business and not do anything with it, but like any business, you want to get into something, you want to lean your shoulder into it, make it happen. You got to keep going up that mountain and hard. You got to keep driving, networking, figuring out things that are going to happen. Luann has figured out how to do this. So if you want to figure out how to do this, go connect with her. But in the meantime, we'll see you next week when we talk a little bit more about getting up that mountain. Let's get out of here. We got to go get healthy.
Cheers, everybody.